Hey everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know it's been a while since I posted. I've been super busy doing a lot of things after the move, trying to get situated, and here I am. So right now what I'm doing is working on my solar system. As you can see back here, I've got my hardy board mounted to the wall of the container. This is where I will be keeping all of my solar equipment, and I could have just mounted it right to the wall, but I wanted there to be a non-conductive backing behind my equipment. So, and then the next step is to mount up the solar inverters and then all the equipment associated with that. So here we go.
Somebody on the Homestead Women's Collective group, and they have a
Close enough. Okay, I need to make some room because I miscalculated my space here. Alright, so I've got to take this rack and take everything off of it and move it further down the container to make room for my power wall and my battery rack. sucky. Alright, so this right here is about 15,000 watts of storage. This would be one 48 volt battery at 305 amp hours of storage. So 48 volts times 305 is roughly about 15,000 kilowatts. And then I have another 16 batteries that I'm going to put under here for another 15,000 kilowatts, giving me a total of 30 kilowatts of energy storage. Okay, so I'm going to voltage test these batteries. Since I've received them, this is the first time I've taken them out of the package. They've just been sitting here for the last couple months. So I'm going to make sure that their voltages are all where they should be. Okay, so that's good. They're all measuring at 3.3 volts. So none of them are imbalanced. They're all balanced the same. So I'll be able to assemble these without getting any kind of sparks. And then once they're assembled, then I'll go through and charge each 12 volt pack individually. And then I'll assemble them into one 48 volt pack. Okay, so I went to the orange box store and I picked up some 3/4 inch flexible conduit and some 4 gauge stranded THHN wire. I opted to go with a 4 gauge because I'm planning on running some amps through this machine with running our property as well as running some mining equipment. So I opted for the 4 gauge because 4 gauge goes up to about 75 amps per leg, or per per wire, where the 6 gauge is only good for up to 55 amps. So I opted for the heavier gauge cable, and this is the maximum size cable that you can put on these units. Like I said, this 4 gauge it's the maximum that this unit can handle. So it takes a little bit of work to get it up in there, but it'll go. Hi, Becca. Our goat supervisor is here. Okay, now they didn't have any white 4 gauge, so I just bought extra of the black. And then I'm going to mark it as neutral with some white electrical tape.
They're eating things.
Yes, I hear that. Come on, Becky. Come on. Come on, young feet. Come on. Nope. Come on. Nope. Come on. Where's your mommy? Come on.
for you to start doing things.
Bless you.
So this one's already set up?
Yeah.
Why is there a big gray hose thingy?
Okay, now the grounding wire I got in 8 gauge. You don't have to have the same gauge ground wire as you do the primary wires, and that's just because the grounding wire is just for, you know, extra current, leftover current that needs to be sent back in the loop. You always want to give yourself a little extra slack when you're cutting these lines, because what you don't want is to be too short, and then you've wasted your line. Okay, here's my solar panel setup. I had footage of me actually setting these panels up and installing them, also strapping them down, but inadvertently I accidentally erased it and wasn't able to recover. But anyways, I've got 4 strings. Each string is 5 panels long, and then I have 2 strings here and 2 strings here for a total of 8,000 watts. So I've got 2,000 watts, 2,000 watts, 2,000 watts, and then 2,000 watts over there. Okay, now we do get somewhat heavy winds up here, even just blowing during the afternoon. We can get some pretty crazy wind gusts. So I went ahead and got some strapping, and I just strapped 2 straps on each panel down to the edge of the container. And I did it to the front panels as well, 2 of these straps on each panel. I just took scrap from the straps that I did on the back and put a little bend in them, and then did some self-tapping sheet metal roofing screws here with a little rubber grommet, and did that all the way across. So again, I got video of me installing all of this, but I lost it. So just a quick recap. Alright, I've got all of my solar panels hooked up to one inverter, about 8,000 watts of solar input going into this one inverter. That's the maximum amount. I've got one of my 48 volt 305 amp hour battery packs hooked up. I'm using 2-watt welding cable that will connect into the positive side, goes into a 250 amp marine breaker, and that goes into this Victron Energy Linux Power In. This is not the same as the distribution, although it looks identical to it. It doesn't have any of the electronic components in it. It is just basically a big bus bar. Okay, so positive comes off, goes on to the positive side. Negative runs here, goes to the negative side, which is right under there. And then when I'm ready to hook up the other battery bank, I will put another 250 amp breaker here, run that to the positive side, and then run the other negative side to the negative terminal. On this inverter that I have running, I have it coming off of this side, going into 200 amp or I think it's 250 amp T-class fuse, and then that goes into the positive side of the inverter. And then I'll have the positive side run off this, go into this 250 class T-class amp fuse, and that'll go into the positive side of that inverter. I do have a Victron energy shunt right here. I don't have it hooked up right now because I ran out of terminal crimp lugs. So once I have those, then I'll just split this cord here and hook them up right there. So that's at least one side of the system hooked up. Alright, so far I'm really impressed with this system. I've got this bank of batteries that I'm charging up from my AC charger, because that's my second bank of batteries that I'm going to be working on. I came to my goats. No, get out of here. Come on, Becca. Come on, honey. Come on. Alright, where was I? No, Rebecca. No. Why are you so inquisitive? I don't understand. Go on. Go on. Okay, take two. Out. So far I'm really super impressed with just running off of this one inverter. I've got a single bank of 48 volt LifePo cells. These are 305 amp hour cells. I've got my second bank that I'm working on charging. I already have two of the cells for the 48 volt system packed, so two series of 4. I already have all of those charged. I'm working on charging the third pack, and it's the cloud cover right now. The sun is behind the clouds. I mean, it is a sunny day, but right now we're behind a cloud. So I'm running mostly on battery, but I have my RV hooked up to 30 amp service. I have the AC running in the RV as well as some other things. I also have the charger hooked up, charging this third bank of batteries. My goat is still trying to get in here. Go on, Rebecca. Go on.
I took a couple of goat treats and Dorothy tried some and she liked it.
Yeah, well, Rebecca seems like she wants to be in here more. No, come on.
Come on, have some goat drink. There's some in here.
Go run over there. Go on. Go on. Go on, Becca. Come on. Yes, you're such a good girl. Go on. I don't know what their affinity is with being in here, but they always want to be in here. My goat supervisors. Okay, so I've got the AC charger. This is a 100 amp charger. So I'm right now charging this at about 86 amps. We're under cloud cover. Alright, I had to close the door because it just kept running in here. So we're under cloud cover right now. Right now my PV input on my first panel array is 172 volts. It's pulling 3.7 amps. It's putting out about 600 watts. The second array is about the same. My battery is at 52.4 volts right now. It's at 60 hertz. It's putting out about 55%. Output is 3.66%. Okay, so this is mostly, I'm pulling 50 amps from the battery. So this is mostly running on battery right now. The solar panels are providing some power, but not much right now because the sun is still behind the clouds. So As far as the panels go, I have 4 strings of about 2,000 watts each. So each one of these inverters can have an input of 8,000 watts of solar, and I have roughly 8,000 watts going into this inverter. Alright, let's see how many amps we're pulling. We're pulling about 11 amps on the charger. And we're pulling about 14 amps on the RV. So that's pretty impressive. And right now, from the battery, we're pulling about 39 amps from the battery. So I'll wait till the sun comes out and we get more PV input, and we'll do another test. Okay, so now we're pretty much under full sun. My first array is bringing in 17.3 amps, 3.2 kilowatts of power. My second array is bringing in 17.4 amps and roughly 3.2 kilowatts of power. So that's about almost 7,000 watts of input. The battery is now charging at 48 amps. Battery voltage has gone back up. The output on the inverter is 57%. And we're drawing 0 amps from the battery right now. So we can test that. Maybe. So you can see now it's putting in 50 amps, just like the inverter said. Because if it was drawing, there'd be a negative symbol right here if it was drawing power. So, you know, this whole system cost me about, with all of this stuff combined, the batteries, the parts, and all that stuff, it was about $16,000 roughly. It might be plus or minus $1,000. Probably not plus, but probably more, around 15 grand. But you can really get away with doing a setup like this. You don't have to have 2 inverters. This inverter, just one alone on one bank of 48 volt batteries, 305 amp hours, it's really good. I mean, I can run, when the sun goes down, I can still run my AC pretty much all night if I needed to. I would have, it pulls around 20 amps to 25 amps an hour, and that would give me roughly 10 to 12 hours of runtime on just my batteries alone at nighttime. So you could really do it with some solar panels, 8,000 watts of solar panel input on this, one inverter and one bank of batteries, and that would really, you know, cut your costs in half pretty much. The solar panels would be about $4,800, maybe $4,500 roughly, maybe a little bit less. The inverter is $1,500. One bank of these batteries would be about $2,500. So, you know, the combiner box and all the other stuff, you got maybe $1,000 into the other equipment that you really need, with the bus bars and the power panel, the junction box, all of your cabling and that sort of thing. So you're probably looking at, you know, $8,000 roughly, all in, for a really powerful system. I'm really happy with this. I'm really happy that I went with this setup. I've still got this one to go. Now, when I bought this one, the display did not work. It lit up, but I did not get any data output on the display. It just lit up blue and blank. So I sent the display back to Watts 24/7 for warranty, and waiting for that to come through. So once I have the display, I'll hook up my other solar panels. I have another 8,000 watts of solar panels that I'm going to be putting on this. That will give me a total maxed out system here that I'll be planning to use for other reasons. Alright, but thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you on the next video. What a beautiful, beautiful day today.